Here's a few things that I noticed about my red wigglers and my European night crawlers. I'm going to answer a few questions that were left in the comments, and also a couple of questions that I heard about certain things that you can do with red wigglers and European night crawlers. So enjoy the video! You hear things about composting worms. There's some do's and don'ts. But I noticed a lot of amazing things about worms. And a question I was asked was, can you give your worm salt? And I would have to say the answer would be no. Because I've seen other videos where people applied salt onto a worm's body. And since worms absorb moisture through their skin, the salt water is definitely a bad result because it will kill them. Especially from the shock of the salt being applied, so it's not a good thing. So think about it. What about you? If you cut your finger and you stick it in salt water, how's your finger gonna feel? Exactly, it's gonna feel exactly how that worm felt. So I don't give my worms any salt when it comes to my worm bins. I noticed too, if you put like banana peels and you have the stickers on it, worms are really smart. They'll eat the banana peels, but they'll leave a sticker for you to take out of your bin. So that's definitely another thing that worms are smart about, because they will not eat the stickers. Also, when it comes to your mailing envelopes, you know how it is when they have the windows in them, if you're going to recycle them? If you put that into your worm bin, the envelope with the windows in it, the plastic seal, the worms will eat the paper but leave that film in your worm bin. So worms will eat the envelope, but they won't eat the plastic. But I don't put that in my bin anyway. And also when it comes to paper, for my worm bins, I'm strictly going to use newspaper and cardboard as their bedding, because the regular paper, like notebook paper, the white paper, it seems like it gets matted down, and I don't really like that compared to newspaper, that I think it's easier for the worms to consume. But the worms will eat the white paper that you put in there if you shred it up. But I'm no longer going to put white paper in my worm bin. I'm only going to use cardboard and newspaper. Another thing that I noticed about worms is I was talking to a YouTuber by the name of Gardening with Bart Chuckin. Check out his channel. And have an outside worm bin. And that's the only bin that I have a mixture of red wigglers and European night crawlers, because I don't like to mix my worms. I like to, in a perfect world, have that own species in the bin. But we noticed in the video that when you have a mixture of worms in your bins, that they consume things a lot faster. And because I'm saying, like, for example, the red wigglers will eat those food scraps, and the European night crawlers, they like more of the cardboard, so it's balanced. But the thing about both of those worms is that they will both eat the cardboard and the food scraps. And the thing that I noticed too is that the castings will be a lot better, because you'll have a mixture of the castings from your red wigglers and your European night crawlers. So it's just a thought out there. If you see any results that you liked about the mixture of worms, let me know. And also, there's people that have variety of mixtures in their worm bins. Some people have blue worms, which my mixture of red wigglers have blue worms. But some people have blue worms. I don't know. Some people have African night crawlers. I don't know if they mix that with anything else, but there's a variety of worms that you can mix with other worms. But the thing about worms, they don't breed with another species, so you don't have to worry about your worms mutating into a crazy breed of worms. But if you're not composting, like I said, vermicomposting with red wigglers or European night crawlers or any type of composting worms, you should start doing it, because worms are really easy to do and take care of if you do everything right. You don't have to overthink things. And I have never forgot about my worms. I hear about other worm farmers that say they forgot their worms were in the house, or outside, but I'm like, I never forget about my worms because I know every day I eat, if I'm putting my food scraps in my recycle bin for composting, or, you know, for my red wigglers to get ready to consume, I know that they're around, so the food scraps will be given to the worms. And also, a lot of people, just me, I had a situation where I thought I had enough air holes in my worm bin, and I put more air holes in, and I have never had worms trying to escape. You know, in the past I did, but now they stay in the worm bin, and that's what I definitely like about my worms. They're doing great things. They're well behaved now, but worms are awesome. They're great pets. And also, on that note, worms are getting really expensive. So you're gonna have to look into it. If you're gonna buy worms, you better buy them now, because I noticed they're getting more expensive. You don't have to go crazy and spend a lot of money on your worm bins. Just start off basic, you know, like get a Rubbermaid tote. You don't have to spend a lot of money yet, and the better you get, the more money you can spend if you would like to invest more money into your worms. But that's just a few things that I noticed about worms. I just want to touch base and let you guys know that, you know, worms are great pets. Don't give them salt, because salt's not a good thing. Don't give them, like I said, the white paper. I'm going to try not to do that anymore. My main source, once again, is going to be cardboard and bedding. Don't neglect your worms. The only thing you got to do is give them food scraps, some moist bedding, and you'll be fine. Don't worry about the envelopes, you know, because the worms will eat around the plastic and leave that in your worm bin. You don't have to worry about taking the stickers off of your bananas if you don't want to. Another thing is, there's a way, if you freeze your food scraps, they'll break down a lot quicker. But also, people used to do the slurry method. They would put it in a blender and puree it, but I don't see too many people doing that anymore. They just do like freeze it and thaw it out, because it's going to break down. And another thing that I forgot to say is that I noticed that fruit flies, they're bad. No matter how tight a container is, those darn fruit flies are everywhere. And what I'm thinking is, if you have bananas, you buy them from a store, they're on those banana peels, and that's how they're there. Because I'm like, how in the world do fruit flies get into your worm bins? Because there's no way, but they're bad. I mean, and there's a video that I'm going to post right here. Check it out on how to make an easy fruit fly trap if you have problems with fruit flies. But like I said, worms are easy. They're great pets. Get them now before the prices get really expensive. And I just want to say thank you for taking time out to watch this video. And you have a great day. Bye.